terms of refreshing or re-verifying individuals, is there a set time period that has to be done over, or do we have to do that at all? Or is it a case of once that individual's been verified, it's kind of done for?
It's done. Yeah. So ID verification in terms of the registrar, okay, is a once and done. So all we are doing is checking that that individual is a live, verified individual at the point of identity verification, and then when they come to file information on the public register, because it's not all done at the same time, yeah, they provide information on the public facing documents, the incorporations, the appointments. We will check that information, and as long as that information sort of checks out, the information will go into the public domain, and we will put a flag on that individual's record to say information is there and it's verified. The only time that, sorry, go back a bit, if that individual's information changes over time, so if somebody gets married and changes their name or whatever, okay, they won't have to re-verify, because when they provide change of name information or change of address or anything like that about their sort of attributes, they will provide the unique number, unique reference number that they were IDV'd with. That comes along with that record. So the public record will have a note of the changes of that person's information over time, which is associated to a verified attribute at the beginning. So they won't have to re-verify for things like that, or changing address and those things. The only time we will probably ask people to re-verify is if we think there may be something suspicious or incorrect with the original identity verification. So I mentioned, if we see a lot of sort of, historically, we've had identity verification, identity theft, yeah? People hacking into large organizations, stealing a lot of identities and setting up companies. Hopefully IDV will prevent that, because you've got to have a few more attributes about an individual and documents in order to be able to get across the line. But if somebody works out how to game that system and then we find out, then we would ask that group of people to re-verify. They can't do it within, I think it's 42 days, but don't quote me on that figure. There is a period of time. If they don't do it within that period of time, then we will cancel that unique identifier. If they do it within a period of time, then and re-verifying everything is fine, and it's the same attributes. In other words, it was suspicious, but that person's re-verified and it's A-okay. They'll just carry on with the unique identifier.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Asha, and I would just add, because we've had a question as well along this line that so please we got it in here, but it talks about long-standing clients and if they've already done an AML check, for example, previously. And I think it's important here, just on the back of what Mark said, to point out is that there is no exemption in the AML regs for long-standing clients, and that's the same for Companies House. So if you've done an AML check previously and you've worked with a client for some time, it's important to reflect on what check was undertaken and does that meet the Companies House standard as it is written within the guidance. And I think that there's a distinction there, because the AML regime and what's required for that is different in parts to what is required by Companies House for ACSP. And there is no risk-based approach here. It is more black and white. I would say maybe people might not agree. Let's caveat that. It is clear and it's a very set of rules that have to be followed, and there's no subjectiveness to that. This is the standard, this is the expectation, and this is the output that's needed. And so making sure that whatever process you've got in place for AML, does that meet this level, and thinking about it from that perspective and then making a determination.